Exist to you. You made a post today. I posted up the link so that people can see it. It's the beginning half of this. I want you to take a look at how calm and collective I had to be before Natalie Bollinger was killed. Even though she destroyed my entire life, it wasn't just her, it was a lot of people that gang stalked me before Natalie was killed. I'm a disabled and at-risk adult. I'm autistic. I have Tourette syndrome. Both of those could get me fucking shot by police at any point in time. Outright fucking murdered by a police officer. Now you wanna pretend like cops are on the good guy's side, right? No, they're not. They're fucking pieces of shit, same as anyone else. There's no such thing as a good cop. And lots of people wholeheartedly agree with a lot of sayings about cops that I'm not going to repeat them. I'm against killing people. But I'm not against equality. You know, I stood up for BLM at the beginning. I've been fighting for black rights my whole life. I grew up in the system. I know how fucked up it is. Black kids are more likely to be fucking broke. Therefore, they're more likely to end up in the fucking system. It happens. But it's being broke that ends you up in the system. Or having parents that are broke. Or parents that are stupid. If your parents chose drugs or alcohol over their own kids, they're stupid parents. I grew up in the system. You don't know what that's like. I want you to type out over-medicating foster children. Barbara Walters. That's a name you might remember. Or you might not. You're pretty young. And you were talking today about the BLM protesters that destroyed that woman's life, the one whose father was a cop and died of cancer. I don't care if her father was a cop and died of cancer. I care that her life was ruined. But was it really? She was allowed to go to college. She was allowed to graduate. You say, oh, well, she had a bad mark on her academic record. So what? She graduated. She got the piece of paper that she needed. That piece of paper is what's important. I'm able to talk well sometimes. Most of the time I'm not, because I'm in a constant state of fear and panic. That's because my life actually was ruined by Natalie Bollinger and her friends and family. But they had a lot of help. A lot of help. Brett Cooper, she's also got a lot of the stuff that she posts up. She posts up a lot of the same stuff I do, but she's got a place to do it. She's got help doing it. She's got organizational skills and knowledge of how to use that stuff. She's not stuck out here on the streets. She's not stuck with tweakers showing by her car every day. Having to be afraid of them from across the street. Is different from having to be overly nice to them. Because you have to go to services in the same place that they go to services. I'm not talking church services. Natalie Bollinger and her friends and family drove me to the point of suicide. I begged everyone I knew to help me kill myself because I asked them for help first and nobody cared. You know, I reached out to these autism places. Anna Moomin was probably my favorite. The one guy who stuck around was the guy who made it into a business for merchandising. Became a sellout. People don't try to understand autism. They don't try to understand the perspective or the life of the person who's autistic. You think that you can beat us into submission. Maybe if you beat us enough, we won't be autistic. Maybe if you give us enough pills, we won't be autistic. Maybe if you ignore us enough, we won't be autistic. If you don't hire us enough, we won't be autistic. Maybe if you yell at us to look in your eyes, we won't be autistic. You're always trying to find a cure for autism. No. Autism is not the problem. What you commonly associate with autism is not autism. It's post-traumatic stress disorder from having to deal with you fucking crazy lunatics. We call you neurotypicals. We try to be neurodivergent with you. We have to be accepting of you at all points in time. We have to pretend to be like you so you won't beat us to death for being weirdos. Especially if we got Tourette syndrome. Can't do that. How dare you wink at people? You get to see how I post up the way that people react to me speaking up, and also to me acting like my predators. See, here's something, young lady, that you don't understand. I've already been to prison and jail multiple times for protecting children. Some of them from their own parents. Am I afraid to go back? You goddamn right I am. I got a bunch of evidence that's needing to be turned in about a lot of other child molesters, a lot of other rapists, a lot of other bad public officials. Look up the name Michelle Decini, Lincoln, Nebraska. Scroll through and see what different charges she got and what the slap on the wrist she got. Look up the words 14-year-old boy and teacher, Tillamook, Oregon. You'll get to see a woman who spent 6 hours in jail for having sex with an underage boy. 6 hours in jail. A lot of people hate me because I post up publicly. I never wanted to do that. People want to sell a false narrative after the fact, but the fact is, when it comes to disabled and at-risk adults out on the streets, you don't give a fuck. You let them beat Thomas Kelly to death. Look how many cops' names they put on the investigative report for that thing. Apparently there was 36 of them. That's 36 officers that thought it was okay to beat a schizophrenic homeless man to death. And you wonder why it is that I'm afraid of these predators pretending that I'm mentally ill. The mentally ill tag is used in lieu of the word schizophrenic, delusional. It's used to incite visions of school shooters, serial rapists, Jeffrey Dahmer, Ted Kaczynski, David Koresh. We know that when crimes are committed, the first 24 hours are the most important. Truth is, it doesn't matter what the truth is. If you make your friend beg for you to care when they're harmed, and you tell them to be patient, and you do this for 7 months, and then you lie to them repeatedly, this is not okay. Miss Kayla Trujillo screwed up big. If you look up a video on here called 4 Peaches is the Liar, You'll get to see what happens when it's a man on that end of the stick. You get to see how long this extends. You get to see how... Look up the name Waylon Lolotai. Waylon Lolotai. That's an officer who assaulted me in Boulder while trying to help frame me for Natalie Bollinger's murder. Helping to gaslight me along with the Bollinger family. I tried to show that evidence. Nobody would look at it. They just wanted to lock me up and intimidate me and scare me. I already knew those tactics. There's witnesses on my channel to a lot of different things, like Rayanne Ingersoll, who's dead now. But there's conversations with her and I on this channel. Christine Buhit. There's conversations between her and I on this channel too, but she's also dead. So you guys only want to focus on Natalie Bollinger's death. You don't want to focus on any of why it happened. You don't want to focus on the abuse that I have had to endure. My friends didn't care about the abuse that I endured. Even the abuse at the hands of them. Of course they wouldn't. They'd want to hide it. Even through all of the hell and the physical pain of doing so. When Joanna Taylor Smith was going to help me, I had to make sure that I made that hammer so that I would have the money to go see her. If I had the money to go see her, and it didn't happen for a very long time because I didn't have the money. They kept promising if I went there. Well, it's hard to get there when all of your money is being eaten up between Ken Wilson and Leatha Plunkett's house and going back to Nebraska. Meanwhile, I was in therapy because as an at-risk adult, I'm supposed to go to an advocate. So that's what it was supposed to be, an advocate. Instead of it being an advocate, they committed Medicare and Medicaid fraud. They never assisted me with stopping the abuse. As mandated reporters, they're supposed to turn it in right away. I got taken advantage of by a lot of people. And there are people involved in the situation like Jen Beebe and Nicole Peralta that do need to speak up about the situation with Desiree and the harm that she created. About the situation with my computer. That's right, folks, the computer that I have that's all busted to shit, but I still, if I'm able to find an outlet, I can plug it in. Yeah, that computer had to have the hard drive replaced. I had to literally start over from scratch. That hard drive was kept at Tabitha Michelle Cook's in Longmont, Colorado for safekeeping, along with a lot of my other stuff. A lot of my tools. I always collect tools because as a broke person, you better be able to fucking figure out how to fix what's fucking broke, or it's going to cost you a lot of money to get your stuff back. And with the amount that you earn per day versus the amount they're going to charge for you keeping your vehicle locked up per day versus the amount they charging you for towing it to begin with, y'all got no idea. Y'all want to tell me how it is. You don't know how it is, son. Yes, Brett Cooper, I understand that you're not my offspring and that you're not a male. I don't care. The thing is that when it comes to gaslighting, you guys have no clue. When it comes to being somebody smart enough to save the evidence to the best of their abilities, to reach out for help before it becomes a major fucking issue. But it doesn't matter that I'm smart enough to reach out for help before it becomes a major issue, because nobody gives a shit about men. Natalie Marie Bollinger is very specifically dead because nobody would listen to Sean Schwartz. That's me. Look up the missing women of Hardin, Montana on my channel. Then look at how long it took for people to speak up. Look at how long it took the news to admit that it was the epicenter of missing and murdered Indigenous people. 2019, many months after I did, in 2021 for the federal government. I spoke up at the very beginning of 2019. I spoke up about Selena Shelley Faye Not Afraid, also known as Shatina Bell. Sorry. I'm sorry. Shatina Bell was a girl I went to high school with in Tacoma, Washington at Lincoln High School, and she died of leukemia. It was Selena Bell. She had a brother named Preston. He went by Preston Bell. He was shot to death by the police. She had a twin sister named Zoe Not Afraid, who was the youngest suicide in Montana history at 11 years old. There was her sister Teresa, who was hit by a car out by the Billings airport. There was a young lady who was with her sister Teresa when Teresa was clipped at the airport and died. Hit and run, they didn't find her killer. The woman who was with Teresa was also with Selena Shelley Faye Not Afraid, aka Selena Bell. The night that a whole vehicle full of people let her out, apparently. She froze to death that night. Murder by exposure, it's pretty common. You wait till a blizzard and then you goddamn, that's an evil way to go. That is an evil way to go. Those of you who have never had to live in the snow, never been stuck outside during a blizzard, you don't even know. When you only have to deal with it from your front door to your car, you don't even know. And then they ruled her death by natural causes. You know, the young woman who was with her the night she died, and also with her sister the night she died, in both cases claimed that she didn't know anything. Okay. When you want to pray for somebody, you pray for that family. When you want to help somebody, you help that family. They've lost too much. That's just out of those brothers and sisters. What about their cousins, uncles, aunts? This has been going back generations, people. This isn't something that just started yesterday. Neither is the victimization of the homeless. I always worry about Jetty Ray Morales, because Jetty is from the Pine Ridge area. Sorry. Jetty knows the Pine Ridge area. That's up the Four Corners. Nebraska, Wyoming, Montana, and South Dakota. Sandhills territory. J.D. Ray Morales has family there in Crow Agency in Hardin. J.D. Ray Morales is also part of the LGBT community. I hope she's all right. When people go out of their way to intentionally get stuff wrong, I usually speak out. Oh, there's the sex light. Someone's getting fucked. All right, so here's the thing, Brett Cooper. I've been all over the country, and I've been telling the truth all over the country. I've been kicked out of churches. I've been kicked out of mental hospitals. That is no joke. I got kicked out of church in Chapel, Nebraska by my former art teacher, Mr. Ronald Nordyke. Chapel Assembly of God, same week. No joke, same week. I got kicked out of the hospital in Scotts Bluff. I've been there about 20 hours. They took me there on a mental health hold. I was like, fuck you. Fuck you. This ain't okay. I'm trying to turn in bad fucking cops. It's not okay that literally the cops I'm trying to turn in lied to Jen Beebe and had me dragged to this shithole. According to her, she claimed that they had told her I tried to grab their gun, tried to suicide by cop. What a bunch of fucking bitches. There's a lot of stuff I should have recorded, but I was trying to show evidence that was on my phone. I couldn't record with my phone and show evidence on it. I did make sure I recorded a lot, like Tara Smith from Adult Protective Services. There's a lot of people on my channel. There's also a lot of me having panic attacks and meltdowns. And, I do touch on the politics of the day because that's what everybody else cares about. What I care about is my loved ones, my little brother, my little sister, my older brother. I care about Kayla Trujillo, and we ain't friends. I care about Natalie Bollinger. She's dead, though. Care about Christine Buhit. She's dead, though. Rayanne Ingersoll. She's dead, though. Anna Hunka. She's dead, though. Janine Barrett. She's dead, though. Man, you got no idea. You got no idea. I used to protect people, but you know what? You destroy somebody's name. Everybody hurt you for telling the truth. They don't care. Everybody loved that I told the truth until I told the truth about them. Imagine that. Instead of finding out about me, people blow me off saying stuff like, oh, you don't look autistic, or, oh, you're not full autistic, or you don't have Tourette syndrome. You don't cuss like that. They have no idea how this shit works. When it comes to men's rights, especially if they're broke, especially if they're homeless, especially if they ain't good looking, fuck. Might as well just dig a grave right where they sit. If they try anything other than laying down and dying, they're going to get kicked for it. Here, pretend there's all these services, but they blow us off. They talk over us. They take advantage of people with PTSD, just so you know. The majority of us out there on the streets grew up in child care. We grew up in foster care. We know all about predators in child care. We know all about Barbara Walters. We know all about being over-medicated. We know about how doctors are diagnosis heavy. We also know about professional courtesy. We see it every day, lady. What you talk about it, we live. There are certain things you don't say unless they're true. If they're not true, you don't fucking say it. Now here's the thing, lady. I proved that I didn't stalk anybody. I wasn't allowed to go to court. I didn't even know I had a fucking court date. All the people that I'd gone to for help about that situation, and Kenneth Wilson and Leatha Plunkett taking advantage of my disability money, assaulting their son Gabriel, who is also autistic. Man, he don't like people. There's a reason he don't like people. They don't listen. Guess who's the only person in the house that I really had intelligent conversations with? Gabriel. Holy fuck, imagine that. A 36-year-old and a 14-year-old. Why did we get along? Because we had a lot in common. Some autistic kids get parents who give a shit and understand. They know that we're at much higher risk for being abused. And they don't want us to be abused. There's also parents like Leatha Plunkett, parents like Brian Schwartz, where basically they decide that your kid's full retard and everything that happens in their life is their fault. I remember one of the times that Ken Wilson attacked Gabriel. Gabriel had something sharp in his hand. Ken's an idiot. He talks about being street smart. Holy shit, he's an idiot. Ken grabbed a hold of Gabriel around the neck. Gave Gabriel perfect fucking shanking position. You know what Gabriel did? He calmly reached back and set what he had on the counter. You know? Smart thinking, young man. Ken was yelling, Leah, he tried to stab me with a knife again. They had all the knives stuffed in the little nooks and crannies and shit in the garage that I was staying in. That's right, I was living in a garage. I was living in a garage so that I could go to the services in Colorado that the people in Nebraska kept sending me to. The abuse I've gone through has been across multiple states. Now, there's a lot of people who, because I called them out, well, they liable to say anything, which is why it's a good thing I recorded conversations with them and posted them on the internet, but there's thousands more. It's not that I didn't try to get help. People just didn't care. When Natalie ended up dead, then everybody cared. They cared to disappear real quick or hide their names. Never trust an adult who asks you to keep secrets. Why don't I ask people to keep secrets for me? That's not that I never have. But I gotta be honest. If I break the law, I gotta admit that I broke the law, and I gotta be willing to fess up to the consequences. If I break the law out of necessity, then goddamn it, you better take a look at what I'm fucking trying to show you, because I'm willing to go to prison for it. I'm willing to go to prison to get the evidence that I have put in the hands of law enforcement that can do something with it. Yeah, there's a lot of stuff they're not going to be able to piece together unless I hold their hand and walk them through it at this point. Meanwhile, I've been prevented from any of my rights because none of the mandated reporters ever tried going to APS when it made a fucking difference. When APS did finally send somebody, that was Tara Smith. It was because I had to give her the idea that I was signing over all of my disability money to Adult Protective Services. I recorded the conversation, and again, I had to do it in a place where my predators were abound. I had to do it in the Dual County Courthouse with my predators very close by. I had to try to work with my predators. That's what I had to do. Now, the things that I claimed about these people, I've also got conversations with them. Many of them, if it was a conversation that happened before I had the ability to record them, well, I had to try to set up a meeting to see them again. And I definitely did that. These people wanted to keep the information away from the victim. I am the victim. How many of you people wanted to fight for me? Why would you? Why would you stick your neck out for somebody who's accused of the shit I was accused of? Well, because of goddamn evidence. But getting somebody to see it or to understand the disabilities that I have that prevent me from getting it all to you at once in a nice, neat little fucking bow. There are a few predators that I wrapped up like that for them, but nobody fucking listened. Look at what not listening to me about Polly Olson did. Resulted in her doing more shit illegal with our money. Look what not listening to me about Garden County Sheriff's Department did. Holy shit, Michelle Quinn beat the fuck out of her girlfriend. She's a sheriff. Oh, and guess what? She's the sheriff again. Apparently, you can be a violent person and have spousal abuse and still become the sheriff again. If I'd have been heard, we could have cut all that off a long time ago. If I had been heard by law enforcement when I spoke up, or my friends when I spoke up, instead of my enemies going through and picking through for anything they could use to harm me. Well, I wouldn't have had to do that if the cops had done their jobs and my friends and family had done their jobs. Yeah, friendship can sometimes be a job. If it's not a job once in a while, then you're a fair weather friend. And who fucking needs those? I hurt my back October 17th, 2015, sorry. And I don't know if you want to get on and make a show about back pain, but you might want to ask people with back pain. Ask them what it's like. Say, hey, could you share your experiences of stepping off of a curb? What's it like standing up? What's it like sitting down? What's it like being told you just need to man up and get a job? When you hurt your back, you need help. Anybody with back problems will tell you that. If they're able or allowed to recover, great. But doctors in America don't care if you don't have a facility or place that you can recover in. When you get forced into homelessness, there's a lot of homeless people that did fucked up shit. There is. Just like there's a lot of people in houses who did fucked up shit. But we don't blame all people in houses, do we? We do blame all hobos, don't we? All hobos must be this. All hobos must be that. When a black homeless man is on the news, do they care that he's black? No, they just say he was homeless. How about a white homeless man? Do they point out that he's white? No, they just point out that he's homeless. Don't make much sense. Anyway, I know this is a long rant. That's part of having severe post-traumatic stress disorder from a lot of abuse. being stuck in public, being afraid. My car's broken down again. I literally can't take care of myself off of the $800 I'm supposed to get a month in disability. I'm expected not to have a panic attack when I'm talked over or treated horribly. And I'm notorious for posting people's numbers up. I'm not going to continue to have my friends killed because you people won't speak up. Those people are dying because you guys ain't caring. And while I'm trying to save their lives, your ignorance is having them killed. I'm done with this. But I don't get to be. I'm fine with dying. Just take my evidence first. There's a lot of predators in there. People need to know what these people did, not just to me, but to many others. Look up Clearview Behavioral Health. Instead of hearing my story, you won't. You won't. They keep trying to call torture physical compliance or pain compliance. And then it's magically okay. I'm scared shitless 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. While you guys are afraid of that meth addict on the corner and you call him in. You know what I'm afraid of? The fact that you guys are going to treat us all like that guy. That when the cops come and show up, if they harass anybody, it's probably not going to be that guy. It'll probably be somebody else. All because of a Karen said so. You can be convicted and imprisoned on a Karen's say-so as a homeless person. As a homeless person, if somebody beats you up, it's your fault somehow magically, if they live in a house. I want you to look up Waylon Lolatai, and then I want you to get a hold of Michelle Rodriguez. She deserves justice. She deserves it. Please help to bring attention to what she has to go through. I'm not talking about the famous actress. I'm talking about a homeless woman who is another victim of Officer Waylon Lolatai. Look at Samuel Leon Lawrence V. He played the race card. It had nothing to do with race. A lot of people want to say that, but the thing is, in a lot of other places, it very well could be. In Chapel, Nebraska, it very well could be. In Boulder, Colorado, they wouldn't have done that if they actually thought that he was a homeless person. And when they realized that he wasn't actually a homeless person, it was too late for them to fucking back out. They didn't think that Zayd Atkinson or Samuel Leon Lawrence IV were hardened criminals. They thought they were homeless, and this is standard procedure. But the people who are actually homeless, like Michelle Rodriguez, no joy. Please allow her to have some joy in her life. Look up Teresa Massilia on YouTube. She's got her own channel. She was a victim of rape in Boulder, Colorado. But it wasn't the rapist that was the problem. The way the police treated her was worse than rape. In her own words, she was treated by the Boulder police the same I was. Her rapist was someone she knew, and she tried to fight him off. So they charged her with assault. They never charged him. The officer's name was Clint. There's a guy named George Helmstetter who's on my channel. A witness named George. He was a witness in the jail of one of the assaults against me by Clint. Then there's Christina Kelly, and she was raped also. But they didn't charge her rapist either. They charged her with making a false report because she didn't fight him off, because she didn't fight hard enough. They protect rapists in Boulder, Colorado. They're trying to keep a liberal image. They also do this shit as standard procedure to the homeless. So what sweat is it off their back to get rid of one racist officer, right? Well, that ain't the reality of it. I've seen no evidence of Smiley being racist. I see every indication that he assumed that Zaid Atkinson was homeless. But you guys, when I typed that, knowing these officers, just so you know, when I typed that, knowing these officers, I got treated horribly. Because hobos, apparently, according to you, deserve it. Now, Brett Cooper, I'm not blaming that on you. I'm just hoping that since you're almost somewhat quasi-popular, me talking shit to get your attention will maybe get your attention. That BLM protester ain't got nothing on me, nothing on what's been taken, nothing on the harm from that slander. I'm living through hell. I need someone to look at my channel. I know there's a lot of rambling and talking and it buries everything. But that's all I'm capable of doing most of the time. And even then, it's subject to battery. Once my battery on my phone dies, as an autistic person, that's my lifeline. There's nobody at the other end. Natalie Bollinger didn't deserve to die the way that she did. Her family would drive anybody to suicide. Not just Natalie, they did the same thing to me. When you're taking that kind of abuse, you need to put a helium booth in the cities and in the jails so the people who are chronically abused are no longer targeted financially. It's your taxpayer dollars that pay for this. Your taxpayer dollars. I'm gonna have to shut down the phone here, sleep in my car here in the Goodwill parking lot. It broke down. I ain't got shit to live the month on, and I can't turn in my predators in this town. See, the point here isn't that I need to turn in people like Molly or Farnsworth. It's the fact that I wasn't allowed a safe place to do it. I wasn't allowed a safe place or a safe way to turn in Natalie Bollinger or Tim Beeson or Ted Bollinger or Alicia Bollinger or Maddie Boa or Jonathan Hickson or Lexi Woods or any of the other people who took part in the fucking bullshit. Some of them, like Lexi Woods, kind of came around later. Pretended to be my friend for a bit and then disappeared again. Well, she didn't exactly disappear. She threw a horrible tantrum. Then she disappeared. But I don't mean missing person status. I mean, she did the smart thing. She left. Good riddance. Y'all know how I end this. Good to be rid of you. Thank you for coming to visit. Stay out of trouble or don't get caught. Remember, you are your brother's keeper, and your sister's too. And no victim left behind, no matter how fat, no matter how skinny, no matter how tall or how short, how ugly or how pretty, how male or female. I don't give a shit. I don't give a fuck about special rights. I care about equality. That means you don't get to fucking go destroy somebody's life and then tell everybody that they're a crazy retard. I hope I wasn't too much of a dick to get you to listen.